and welcome into Cullman in the Morning. I'm Debbie Wood, and today our guest is Dr. Shane Barnette. He is the superintendent for our Cullman County School System, and always good to see him. And thank you for being with us. I know you're busy.
Oh, I love being here and bragging about our schools, though.
I'm telling you, and y'all are doing so wonderful. I understand the state superintendent was here recently.
Absolutely.
Tell us about that.
Him and his deputy state superintendent and our state board member, Cynthia McCarty, they all visited on Friday.
Right.
We got the opportunity to go out and visit about 6 of our schools and our career center. And it was interesting because they spent nearly all day here, but we only got to visit like 6 out of 29 different schools that we have. And it's funny because, he's over all of our schools in Alabama, and it's really hard for him to get out. But
Sure.
at the same time, he was like, how do you get out and visit your schools? We couldn't even get to a third of them in one day.
Isn't that something?
And
And of course, those 6, well, of course, they all are busy and doing wonderful things. But when you do get to some of the schools, there's so much going on that it's hard to cover it all, isn't it?
Oh, it really is. It really is.
One thing that I've noticed about all the schools, the county schools, is that each one of those schools are offering, most of them, the high schools for sure, the AP courses, and they're starting, I guess, in elementary. I'm sorry, not elementary, but middle school to talk about that. Right. And that alone is such a big thing, isn't it? Are you proud that you've done that?
We, every one of our schools either have AP classes or dual enrollment classes,
Right.
or both.
Or
Many
both?
have both. Last year we had 26 students that graduated from college before they graduated from high school, which is pretty remarkable.
That's very remarkable.
And we had about 125 to 130 kids that graduated with taking AP exams with college credit.
Isn't that wonderful?
And just getting that little extra boost before they go to college.
If it's just a year, and some of them are 2 years, they're going to
Absolutely.
start. I have a niece that actually did that program, and she's at Auburn, and she's already a junior.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what a difference it
Absolutely.
makes. Not only does it save money, but it also just gets you to your goal so
Absolutely.
much quicker. I mean,
And it's not for everybody.
Right.
But for those kids that are ready to move on and
Yes.
get that little boost, it's perfect for them.
It really is, isn't it? We're going to go back and talk a little bit more about the state superintendent being here. You guys have got some great scores, and I think 23 out of 26 schools. Tell us about that.
Absolutely. And that's something that Dr. Eric Mackey, our state superintendent, was really proud of. We had, of all of our schools, we have 26 schools we have 29 campuses in our school system.
Right.
But 26 of them receive a report card grade. And 23 of those 6 all improved. Now the 3 that didn't, 1 stayed the same, and the other 2 they slid back by a point or 2.
Right.
But it wasn't anything severe. But we had some schools that improved by 20 points, but we had many schools that improved anywhere from 12 to 15 points.
See.
And it's just hard work. Our
really is
teachers
hard
are
work,
so
isn't it?
passionate about what they do, and
Yes.
and we're really moving kids.
Absolutely. And that doesn't mean, folks, that doesn't mean that those 3 schools are not working hard and not doing their job. Sometimes
absolutely
they're just different situations enter into the equation, and it makes a difference.
And there's different demographics throughout our system,
Sure.
throughout our county. And a lot of it is, absenteeism,
Sure.
which, we try to do incentives for, but we can't always control.
Well, that's
and
true.
if a school has has an attendance issue, it could make them slide backwards.
Sure.
And then same thing with kids that drop out of high school.
Right.
If they have very many kids that could be dropping out for whatever reasons, many kids in Cullman County have to drop out to get a job, full-time job. And we have a lot of programs that try to keep them in school, but if they drop out and have to do that, it hurts our report card.
It hurts, doesn't it?
It does.
I don't think most of us, folks in the community that are not involved in our education system to that degree, understand that does make a big difference.
Absolutely.
So, a lot of other things happening, and of course, we're going to take a quick little break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the buses,
Sure.
the school buses.
Absolutely.
I read this article recently, and I was so proud. I'm proud about so many different things in our county system, but also I think this is a great thing. So you stay with us. We'll be back with a lot more of the morning show right after this.
You're watching My Cullman Television on Charter Channel 180.
I worked at this coffee shop while I went to Wallace. I used to joke that I was going to buy it one day. That's how Wallace made me feel, confident. Funny thing is, when I came back to Cullman, I didn't buy that coffee shop. I opened my own instead. I wasn't sure what I wanted to be. Now I know what I was meant to be. Going to Wallace really opened my eyes. even without the caffeine. My name is Katie Fine, and my story began at Wallace State.
In 1916, Warren Miller chose auto owners insurance. Later, his son made the same choice, as did his grandson. And today, his great-granddaughter did the same. As we celebrate 100 years, we're grateful to our independent agents and to those who have put their trust in us, and to the generations who will. Auto Owners Insurance.
Night Free Insurance Agency in Cullman is your local independent auto owners insurance agency.
What if we designed a paint that not only made your bathroom look like a spa, but stood up to the humidity of a shower this steamy? Or even this steamy? If it's a matte finish paint and can resist any amount of moisture, is it still paint? Aura Bath and Spa from Benjamin Moore. Paint like no other. Find Benjamin Moore Premium Paint. Available now from your local paint experts at O.F. Richter & Sons.
And welcome back into Cullman in the Morning. Our guest today, Dr. Shane Barnette, he is our superintendent for our Cullman County Schools. We've been recapping a little bit. The state superintendent was here recently. We were talking about the fact that not only do you have AP classes, but you also had dual enrollment.
Right.
And 26 students last year graduated early.
Yeah, well, they graduated
with,
from Wallace State about a week before they graduated from their high school.
I had heard that, and I
pretty
wasn't
cool.
for sure exactly how that worked, but that's so awesome.
It is exciting.
It really is.
And so a lot of those kids are ready for that next step in their career or in their education, and we want to try to let them do that. And,
Absolutely.
But we have so many different avenues that kids, and that's what I tell young people all the time. If they're considering dropping out of school or they have a hardship or something,
Right.
we have a pathway to help you be successful.
you.
Regardless
All you
of
have to
what
do
it
is
is.
ask, right?
Absolutely.
Ask us.
Absolutely. Let us know what your challenges are, and we'll figure out a pathway for you.
See, that's wonderful.
We have a combination of virtual school, and we have a blended where they can do most of it at home, and then come to school and take their test.
I forgot
we
about
have,
that.
We have any way you can imagine.
See,
to help
and do
them
you
be
have a
successful.
lot that participate with the virtual?
We do. It's limited because a lot of times they want that interaction with other kids.
Sure.
A lot of them do. But it's good for some kids.
Okay, good. I forgot about virtual school. I remember reading about it and thinking, wow, how would that work? But I guess it works. So
It does for
that's
some.
great. Well, let's talk about the buses. I understand that we have 20 new buses, and I, as a grandmother and a mother, am so excited about this because we needed this.
Yes. We are blessed. I'll say that in Cullman
Sure.
County. One of the highest priorities that we take with our students is safety.
Yes.
Safety on our campuses and safety with our school buses.
Right.
And any given time, we have about 105, 106 buses out on our roads all the time.
All the time.
And so we have done a really good job. Our transportation department has done an excellent job, and the maintenance department that works with our transportation department has done an excellent job.
Right.
I'll say this about all of our buses. All the buses that we are running on regular routes are 10 years or younger all the time. It's just a priority that we have.
Right.
Every school system can't say that.
Sure.
And one of the things that we do, the State Department comes out every year and they'll spot check our buses and the maintenance on them and so forth.
Oh,
and
okay.
if you have 10% or less discrepancies, they consider that to be excellent.
Good.
Because the discrepancies can be very minute things.
Right.
The last 2 years, Cullman County Schools have had 0. Which is unheard of.
That is unheard of.
I mean, it's such a great thing for the guys that work on our buses. They do such a because they're passionate about it. They have children and grandchildren on those buses.
Don't they?
And but one of the things that we've done this year, so we bought new buses, and we were the first school system in Alabama to get the buses like this. And these buses have 2 stop signs on there because we have a real issue with people passing our school buses, even while kids are unloading or loading.
Yes.
So one of the things that we done, we bought buses that have another stop sign at the rear of the bus. So before they even get to the bus, there's a stop sign there and then another one towards the front.
all the new ones have that.
All the new ones
Okay.
have that. And all of our buses have been retrofit for cameras on the outside. So if somebody passes our bus, they're on camera.
Good.
And we can turn that over,
That happened a lot last year, didn't it? Not
did.
necessarily in our community, thank goodness, but throughout the country, it was terrible.
There were even in the fall of this year in other states, there's been students that have lost their lives because of that.
Yes. There was one thing I noticed that on a bus recently that I saw, that it had the arm in the front of the bus.
Yes.
And tell us about that. Now, have they all been?
All of our buses have
fitted for
that
that?
on there now
Okay.
also. But one of the things that does, because our buses are so high and we have such small kids riding those buses, that this arm comes out and it makes the kids walk out further in front of the bus so they can be sure and see that kid and know that they've passed across and so forth.
Good.
But our newer buses, they also have a anti-flip device or mechanism on the bus.
Okay. That's a good thing.
And our transportation director, Jeff Harper, he got to go to where the buses are being made, and they put him on a slippery little controlled parking lot or whatever, and had him and other ones on there saying, okay, try to turn the bus over.
Turn it over.
And they put them in different scenarios, and they'd have to lock down the brakes, and the bus automatically slows down and brakes automatically and does gears down to keep from rolling and to keep from
just like the
doing
new
anything like that.
vehicles.
Absolutely.
Just the same.
Many of our
difference.
vehicles have had that for a while, but they haven't rolled that over into buses.
The buses,
But they have now.
Good.
And not all of them have it, but
Right.
we were the first school system that does in Alabama, and we're real excited about that.
I know you are, and we're excited that that's happening. And this is probably it's probably difficult to, because of the logistics of it. But do you try to use those buses for trips and stuff?
Well, we do.
If you can.
We do, and that's one of the things that
Out of town trips,
we have
I
some
guess.
spare buses that we've used for sporting events and stuff like that in the past.
Sure.
But one of the things that we got to talking about and our board decided that we want to use our newer buses even when we go to sporting events as much as possible.
Good.
And just because they're the safer buses.
Sure.
And we're really excited about that. And
Good.
we don't put enough miles on them to make a difference anyway.
Right.
So we want to go ahead and try to use those as much as possible.
I know it would be difficult, but after the routine gets down, as far as the logistics and getting it, coordinated and all, but that's a great idea. Now buses, all of the buses have the cameras, but do they also have cameras inside?
Absolutely.
They do have cameras.
They do. And I think most of our buses have 3 to 4 cameras on the inside.
Okay.
And
That's a
the
great
biggest thing for that, it prevents a lot of bad behavior as well, but if there is an issue that we can use that video as training and so forth, and I know a lot of parents sometimes want to see that video, and we don't share that with the public because it has other people's kids on there too.
Oh, well, that's true.
But it does help a lot if a kid's misbehaved or done something.
You've got proof.
And we can
you can
pull it
show
up.
it, huh?
Right.
Because sometimes we as parents don't want to believe that our kids would misbehave, do we?
Not our own babies,
Not
do
our
we?
own babies.
That's right.
I always said mine was just perfect, and I found out later that was not exactly
Absolutely.
true. But let's talk about the program that the foundation has actually implemented over the years. It's a wonderful program as far as music. Every student is not able to take music lessons.
Absolutely. And we are blessed that many of our elementary schools have music teachers that are even part-time music teachers. And through some of those grants, we have 2 or 3 of guitar packages at schools that kids are learning in 1st and 2nd grade how to play guitar and so forth. It's amazing because what it does, it just keeps them involved in something outside the classroom, even if they're not really initially real successful in the classroom. They can find this interest, and you can use that and say, well, you got to work harder in the classroom to get to do this.
If you want to go play and have fun.
And it works. And a lot of those kids that go on as they get into middle school and high school and go into the band and so forth.
And I've always felt like any kind of musical instrument, piano, guitar, what have you, would be something that they can do all their life.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's something that it's not going to limit you. So
I heard we had a music teacher tell me one time that he was talking to a group of boys that had made fun of somebody for being in the band or something, and he said, you can't throw that football the rest of your life, but you can play guitar or play a saxophone and serenade your wife or girlfriend one day.
I always tell my boys, I tell my boys, and I tell my grandchildren now, especially the boys, of course the boys, I'd say, girls like boys that play guitars.
Yeah.
And that just piques their interest, you know. And of course, they
Guarantee.
all play, so I'm
Absolutely.
proud of that. But, you know, and the way you're at home and you're watching, you wonder how you can help encourage this program to be in even more of our county elementary schools, because I don't think we've had the funding to be able to go into all the schools yet.
That's true, and the biggest thing is funding someone to teach it.
That's
also.
right. That is
and
a big
so if there's
issue.
somebody out there that's musically inclined and they can pass a background check, and
it's
they
like
need to
to be a
get with
volunteer.
absolutely, they can get with their principal and volunteer half a day a week or something,
Yes.
or just
Love to
once a
have you.
month or something like that. Just work it out with their principal, and they would love to put them to work.
Wouldn't they though? I think that's so great.
Absolutely.
And you can make a donation to that foundation. Of course, we'll get TJ Franey on soon and let her talk a little bit more in depth about the foundation and how you can participate and make that donation if you're a business or if you're a local individual and has that
Absolutely.
heart. So thank you for being with us
Thank
today,
you.
and thank you for what you do, and we just, great things coming out of the system.
Absolutely.
And
We're very proud of our teachers and students and everybody. I mean, our lunchroom ladies, I don't ever want to leave anybody out
No.
because they all do such a great job, because
They
they're
work
so
hard.
passionate about what they do.
Yes.
And that's what makes Cullman County special.
It really is,
does.
isn't it? All of those people work hard, and so thank you again for what
Thank
you do.
you for having me.
And of course, with us today, Dr. Shane Barnette, representing our Cullman County school system. And of course, we hope you have enjoyed today. Hope you've learned something, and we hope you have a blessed day. We'll see you tomorrow.